Good morning, everyone. This is Melissa McGurk. I work with the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, and I am one of three main collaborators with the Globe Group, which is housed as part of the North Carolina Biotechnology Center's Global Life Sciences Resource Group. We call it the Global Life Science Opportunities Business Exchange. We keep it broad. And this week, we're focusing on no-cost tools to help grow your life sciences business globally. We will be featuring three people that I will introduce you to in just a moment. But first, I'll take 1 minute to go over the mission of Globe in case this is your first time joining us. Our mission is four bullets here. Identifying international opportunities. For example, last month we had a Catalonia, Spain and North Carolina life sciences hybrid exchange, and we're still doing follow-up on that with partnerships, which leads us to the second bullet, establishing global partnerships in a myriad of ways. And the gentleman from Catalonia, Spain, his name is Marcos. He and I are working behind the scenes, putting together a digital spotlight booklet to share. So please reach out to me. I will make sure that my email address is in the chat so that you can inquire about that partnership opportunity that's currently in the works. Third is navigating regulatory landscapes. We'll talk a little bit about that throughout the session today. And then, of course, leveraging diplomatic channels. So keep up with our Globe programming to take advantage of all of our resources. Now, for today, I'd like to introduce our featured speakers. So first, you're going to hear from Crystal Mills, a Senior International Trade Specialist with the federal government's U.S. Commercial Service, North Carolina. She's based in Charlotte, and she will do a brief introduction when she starts her presentation in a couple of minutes. Crystal will be followed by Jenny Norris, Market Growth Director for North America, for a new initiative called Navigator Global. And Jenny will be walking you through a life science focused application of their broad online resources. And third today, you will hear from Munir Koi, founder and CEO of Venturion.ai, another new and exciting modern initiative to help global life sciences companies grow globally. So thank you so much for joining us. And I will now hand things over to Crystal to be our first speaker of the day.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Thanks everyone for joining us. And so again, I'm Crystal Mills, an international trade specialist with the U.S. Commercial Service, working out of Charlotte. I cover the healthcare and life sciences sectors for the state of North Carolina. And today, I'm happy to share some free online tools that we have to help you with exporting strategies and goals. Let me share my screen. I hope you can see this clownfish, I hope, and I'm going to go through here.
Yes, we see it fine.
So, all right, so we're going to start with trade.gov. So I'm just going to type in trade.gov. And then a pro tip for everyone, if you just type in trade.gov and then maybe something that you're thinking about that you want to learn, like maybe about letter of credit, you can type that in, trade.gov space letter of credit, and then it'll just pop up. It's amazing. It's magical. So so you can do that with like AI or Schedule B, HS codes, however. So that's a little pro tip. But we're going to go back to trade.gov. And then I'm going to point out a couple of things that I really like about this site, our site. So unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go through everything. So here are a couple of my favorites. I'm going to choose, so here on trade.gov, we have export solutions, trade data and analysis, running into problems if you are encountering like a trade barrier, just any issues like you hadn't faced these problems before, but now you are. Um, we have a little something for everything, virtual services, and it just goes on. So I'm going to just click on here to export solutions. And this is this here we have something for everyone, whether you're new to export or true to export, or old pro at export, it's something's here for you. Especially, and if you're onboarding new people, you can always use this get ready to export. Let's see. So I'm going to do get ready to export. As you know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So here we have three phases to help one export and or learn to export, I'll say. And we have prepare, we have begin, and we have execute. And each with each of these little icons here, these cards, there usually is a video and some language about whatever it is about creating a plan, assessing your readiness, and all the way down to completing shipment documents. So it's just a really nice repository for information. We're going to just click that off, and so I'm going to go to select possible target markets. And then here I'm going to do research markets because there's just so much. There's just so much, as you can see, from IP, planning your market entry. There's just so much to look at, but I'm going to highlight this one thing here. So with planning your, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? With researching those markets, you have the process and you have step one to develop your research questions. It helps you think about how do you want to identify what markers are going to help you identify what markets are good for your business. So like how large are your potential markets? What countries are currently buying product like yours or services, and finding out your competitors. It's just a great prompting here for researching. And then for conducting research, we have some good information here. It gets kind of granular, but it's important. And then I'm just going to skip down here to country commercial guides. This is where I want to draw your attention to, because there's just so much good information here. In this hero bar, let's see, we have the digital economy reports. Some things that are interesting about this. I'm going to try to just go into, let's say, Asia, since it's the first one. And actually, I'll expand all. So you can see that we have these digital economy reports for all these different countries: Australia, Israel, Guatemala, just naming things that I see. And that's about 40-ish countries. And so if I go into, like, say, Australia, to just go into it, you can, if cybersecurity and AI and digital services are your thing, or then you can read up about it. Read up about the digital economy here. So there's a data innovation hub here, the cybersecurity strategy, the projected digital economy growth, and just so much information, challenges, all sorts of things. And each country will have its own set of information. Some of it will repeat because it's kind of standard, because we're trying to give you standard information for each individual country. And then and sometimes there's different countries have different information, so that's how it goes. So now I'm going to select here country guide, which takes us back to where we were, and then we can go to, let's do that again, Australia, for the country commercial guide. And here again, we do see digital economy, but we also see like business travel. And here we can learn about what kind of customs there are, business customs in Australia, if there's any travel advisories, visa requirements, the currency, things like that. It's just chock full of information at trade.gov for you figuring out like how to do business, like doing business in Australia, doing business in any country that we have information for, which is again over like 40 countries. And this information here, I'm happy to say it was from this last published or updated in May 2026. So that's like last month. So I'm really excited about that. Um, and you can again go here to see the market challenges, some entry strategy, so much, so much. It's overwhelming. So I'm trying to just show it to you, introduce you to it. But and I'll just go. That's what I want to do, introduce you to it. So now let's go back to the trade export solutions. You remember this side. This remember this. So that's where we're headed. And then another thing I want to show you is our market diversification tool. And so here I'll go to exporter resources this time, and I'm going to go to research international markets. And then I will scroll down to our market diversification tool. This is an awesome tool for you who's watching this to use to find, to kind of, again, get some information about maybe what market you should start considering, Um, for the sake of time, I will skip over a lot of stuff, but you see these icons up here. Please read those and definitely read this disclaimer. It is important, but I'm going to just move past it because I'm short for time here. Let's see. So again, read these handy dandy constructions. So I'm just going to go here to exporter number 2. And in this situation, I'm going to be an exporter that's already exporting, and I'm exporting stem cells. So let's go through this. So I will choose already exporting. I can choose, whatever I see here, Bulgaria, Cambodia, Denmark. These are if I'm already exporting to those, I can say I'm already exporting to those. Then if I'm not, don't worry about it. Don't put anything in there. If I messed up, oops, press that little eraser and then now it's erased. So I can start again. Let's go to products. So what am I exporting? Again, stem cells. In this case, so 300259 is my HS code that I looked up prior to this. And so there we go. And then, and I don't know if you can do more than one at a time, but if you don't know your HS code, you can click there to learn more. If you messed up on the HS code, you can clear it like that and do it again. This is it's a really neat system here. Next, I'm gonna go to the market. As you can see, let me go back right quick. So there was go to results. I could just go to results here, but I need to make sure that my weights are right. But we will go back to it. We'll get there. So just one moment. If I was interested in specific markets, I could, again, just choose my markets. If I was interested in specific regions, I could choose my regions. But for the sake of us in this example, I'm interested in the world. Here I'm going to the 5, limit the results. I just want to show you the top 10 in this case. If you want to show all markets, you can. You go all the way to 50. Then we're going to go to number 6, which is the weights. Here, the numbers must add up to 100 in order to press go to results, because if it doesn't, then it will say, hey, that doesn't equal 100. So let's pretend that I just went here and go to results. Oh, it didn't. Maybe it has a little error thing, like it was not so sensitive, but okay. Let me get back to it. So So here the average, and then also it has to add up to 100. And then if you hover over these question marks, you can find out what these are, what the category is asking about. So here, average imports from US, if I want to take my stem cells where a lot of other US companies are taking their stem cells, then I can make this a higher percentage of my weight for calculating what countries are best for me in this situation. The potential trade, I did hover over this before, and it was telling me that this is kind of like where these trade of this HS code is currently trending, or seems like it's trending well. So that would be important to me too. And so that's now 90% if my math is mathing. Tariffs, I'm going to pretend like that doesn't bother me. I'm going to pretend like logistics doesn't bother me, and regulatory quality score, that will be important to some of us, many of us. But for the sake of this, I'm going to make it 1%. For the sake of this, I'm going to make a language match 1% because I'm a polyglot and I speak the language of the whole world. The distance, I'm going to say is 1%. And anyways, and I'm going to make the free trade agreement with US 0. How do I say? I'm at 95%. So make that 5%. Okay. So now I'm at 100. Again, this all is going to vary. So I'm just trying to make this easier for the example. Then we see that my top 10 countries as it thinks: United Kingdom, Italy, Ireland, Germany, and so forth. So that is how this market diversification tool works. And if I agreed with this list, I would call Melissa or myself or Owen with SBTDC, or Melissa with EDPNC or the U.S. Commercial Service, to see if I can get a distributor, agent, some end users, get in contact with them or make some matches or anything like that. And also, a couple more things on this market diversification tool. Look around, play with these buttons. You cannot break it. You won't break it. Just use it, abuse it. Just really play with it to just get an idea of what works for you and your company, because this is ultimately a business decision. And I will also say that, let me stop. No, I'm not gonna stop sharing just yet. And I will also say, please also realize that with the globe, you can use us. You can double dip and use EDPNC, SBTDC, U.S. Commercial Service, all of us, as much as you can, because that's what we're here for. One more resource, if I have the time, one more resource is this basic guide to exporting. I'm going to drop this in the chat. This is an easy read if you get the paperback. But here is, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but I'm going to. So this is our, let's see if it still works. Yes, great. So it's a basic guide of exporting. It's got lots of things. It's a great reference for anybody that's exporting, like new to or already. And it has plenty, like exporting services, legal considerations, business travel abroad. It's just a really good resource. So I'm going to just drop that in the chat. And not again, you can buy that book or you can just use the site. So that's my time, and thank you so much, Melissa. I'll take it back to you. I'm gonna stop
Thank
sharing.
you. So interesting. There's a lot of new resources there. Are some of those pretty new?
Yeah, some of them are new, especially the market diversification tool. I mean, it's rather new, but it's a great tool, and I don't think enough people know about it. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
asking about
Oh,
that.
no, thanks. Yeah. What I wanted also emphasize for people is that, you know, thinking of just the word yes for utilizing all of these. You don't have to choose one or the other because, what Crystal was just talking about, a lot of the information that they gain is via our presence in US embassies overseas, right? So they're your federal government resources. And of course, they have relationships with private sector experts as well. But that's really, think when you think of US commercial service, just imagine your counterparts on the ground, US counterparts working hand in hand with those foreign service nationals that were born and raised in those specific markets via the embassy channels, right? So that is what the emphasis should be for US commercial service. Now, as we're transitioning to our next speaker, Jenny with Navigator Global, we're moving into kind of this group of private sector expertise. So you see where I'm going there. We have this synergy with your federal government resources and your private sector resources. And so absolutely you should use both of them, and then you have more information upon which to build an initial strategy or get answers to questions that would coincide with your individual relationships with the Globe collaborators. At the end, I'll kind of talk through that a little bit more, as Crystal mentioned, who your key people are through this group that you can reach out to. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Jenny to share her screen and to talk to us about Navigator Global.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And let's see here. You should be seeing my screen now. Is that good?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Well, and thank you again for having me. And I love getting a recap from U.S. Commercial Service. And like Melissa was saying, I think a lot of the tools, you're not going to just go to one place. We complement all the other resources that are out there as well. So I wanted to introduce Navigator Global, and let me give you a quick step back and explain who we are. Navigator Global is newer to the United States. We launched here in November. However, we are not a new company. We are owned by Santander Bank. For those of you who don't know Santander, we're probably the 14th or so largest bank in the world. And so we know a thing or two about international trade. We're based in Spain. Santander has partnered with Dentsu, which is the fourth largest advertising agency in the world, and they've put together Navigator Global. What we are is a human-led online portal supporting companies to export. So I'm going to go through some of the slides, some of the screens here so you can see what we're all about. So this is the landing page, and I'm going to come back to this in a few minutes or towards the end. Now, let me just see if I can move because um, my screen is, let's see. Here we go. Okay, so if we go in, if you join Navigator Global, which is for free, you have access to a ton of resources. And I should say that we're not just life sciences. We cover about 20 sectors in here. So it's not fully based on your sector. Company can join, and as you join, you are asked a few questions about where you are in your international journey. What that's going to do is that's going to put together your feed. You can still see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah, okay, okay. All right. So you're going to be able to, your feed will come up, and what it's going to do is it's going to curate the information directly to you. So articles that are specific to your sector or your journey, or perhaps the countries that you're looking to get into. I should say we're not in every country. We're supporting in 41 countries. And actually, Munir, we're just opening in Morocco as well. So we're going to be at 42. You can see that these articles are coming in either through things that we pick up or we have our own staff that writes articles. Ruth happens to be one of our ecosystem development directors. And so what they're doing is constantly looking for information specific to an exporter in their region. So we've got Asia, we've got South America, we've got Europe, we've got Africa. These folks are looking at what's happening in those markets, the trends, and they're reporting on this. So you can go through and you'll see that we have obviously some older articles that may still be relevant, as well as new stuff as well. So what a company can do is they can start an action plan. Pull this up here. So the action plan walks you through steps, asking you about what you're looking for, where you want to go, your sector, things like that. And it's going to allow you to go through different steps. And you've got a lot of information in there through all of these steps. And I can pull one of these up here. It's different modules. So you're going to be able to go through all of these modules. It's not like you have to go through them in sequential order. You can pop back in and out, but it's a really good reference, especially if you're newer into a market. There are going to be things that you may not have even thought to ask, like a chat GPT. You'll be able to find it here because it's being directed right to you. So let me go here. These are all the topics and the services that we offer to companies to be able to find information on. So any compliance, on the ground support, legal, things like that. You can go into all of these here. Let's find one. Let's go into legal here. Okay, and then you're going to be able to find different categories as well. Now, what are these here, these 25 different providers? As I mentioned, this is a free resource. About 95% of the information that you're going to be able to get on here is all free. We do have a paid version of this, and I'll just mention that with Santander, we have about 300 verified providers. Those are in-market experts. So if you are interested in reaching out to somebody on the ground for a specific question, you can go ahead, you can subscribe, and then you would be able to directly reach out to these providers that are in market. But today we're going to focus on all of the free stuff because there's a lot of value here.
And I would just chime in, Jenny, and just say, the key thing there is that the bank knows those providers, right? You said they
Absolutely, yes. To working for a very large financial institution, we have a lot of legal limits, and so anyone that we are putting on as a verified provider has gone through the rigmarole of being checked out. So it's better than just trying to dial in a market and trying to find somebody. That these folks have worked with companies that are looking to get into those markets. So absolutely verified. I should mention that Navigator Global, I first heard about them in 2018, 2019. We were just in the UK and that was it. And we had many of these providers. We then decided, this worked well in the UK. We had a few thousand users on the platform. Let's take it global. So COVID happened and they've completely revamped and now we're launched in a few markets. So we're still using those providers from years ago as well. So thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely. They are checked out. This destination finder, this is a little bit similar to what Crystal was talking about. This is all information that is written from the standpoint of somebody that is wanting to do business in this market. So you'll see information here that we have: tax, legal, logistics. Again, all from the standpoint of somebody that's trying to get into the market. We do reference all of our sources here as well. So you can see all of that. This is the part that I love the best, our events. what we call events, we do webinars. We do approximately 30 webinars a quarter. You'll see some of them are as simple as, doing business in a certain market, but then we do get much more granular and talk about either a certain sector or a topic. So let's take in here the sectors of, I'm going to take medical, and I'm going to add pharma in here as well. Okay, so you'll see the webinars that are coming up are going to be listed. Again, anyone that registers for the platform or gets onto the platform can then register for any of these webinars. We have webinars that we've done in the past. Those are also pre-recorded and they'll be over here as well. So you can go through, just go through a few of these here so you can see. The graphic's not coming up on this one, so. You can also do it by market. So if you want to see all things, let's say Brazil, you can do that and check it out here. Okay, I want to bring up a recent one that we did. And as you can see, we've got various sectors, so some of them are not going to apply to you. Let's see here. This one here. I wanted to highlight this. This is a webinar that we did just a couple weeks ago, the Southeast US and Canada Alliance. This is open for any companies that are in the 6 Southeast states, North Carolina included, looking to do business with 6 Canadian provinces. If you've heard about this, you can ask Melissa about it a little bit more. If you're considering going to this event, this was so chock full of information about what companies should think about, what they should prepare for prior to going to this event. It's in June 21st. So definitely something to take a look at.
I'll just chime in really quick in the chat. I put the website for that particular event, and on there you could actually see there's is it PAI Pharma in South Carolina? They have a whole list of procurement needs, so you could actually go there and interface with them in person. So there's a web page as well.
Yeah, if I were a seller and exporter, I'd be checking into this because there's a lot of those companies have lists of what they're looking for.
Yeah, and even if they're US companies, they're on there, which is interesting. Yep.
Yep. Finally, our insights here. These are, again, the news articles that are coming out. I had one of our ecosystem development directors was really jumping up and down about this thing called CBAM. And I said, I don't know what that is. And they picked up on in Europe, companies are requiring an invoice, but they're also now requiring an invoice regarding your carbon footprint. And I thought it was such useful information because it wasn't something that you would necessarily, you'd have to search a lot to get information on this. And we did a whole webinar on it. They've written articles on this as well. So a lot of good information in here. And before I finish, I just want to go back here to the feed, to the very, this one here, very beginning. Book a demo. I love getting value. There is a lot of value out of here because not only are you getting on with one of our tech folks that can walk you through the platform, but you're also going to get one of those in-market experts. Our ecosystem development managers is going to be on here. So if you're signing up for the demo and you're saying you're interested in South America, we're going to have one of our South America experts on the phone, and it is a free call. You can get information, ask questions, a lot of value that comes out of there. So again, I would highly encourage, it's free, jump on. It's a useful tool, a lot of resources, and we're still growing. In fact, we just launched this week in Germany together with DHL. So they're a big partner of ours. So down the road, we're looking at having club benefits, calculators, a lot more on the platform as well. So we hope you jump on. We'd love to help you in your export journey. And if there's any questions, I'll also drop this one in the chat as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And I think what we can commit to everyone on the line that we will send a follow-up email with your contact information and the links to some key pages on your website for everyone. I think that would be a good follow-up. I'd like to introduce our next presenter. This is a fun story for me to tell because it's a North Carolina growth story. So your next presenter, Munir Koy, I met years ago when I started my position here at EDPNC. He lives in the Charlotte area, and at the time, I would work with him on just making sure he knew when we had delegation missions to certain markets. And, he was always generous with his knowledge and expertise and comes by the North Carolina booth at events that he's also at and just has this, I think, innate desire to help people because he is extremely knowledgeable on medical sales, medical device sales, and is just a North Carolina colleague through and through. And so this is his most recent endeavor. It's very exciting. And Munir, I'm going to hand it over to you to tell everyone about what you're up to now.
Thank you very much, Melissa. I really appreciate it. So thank you for having me here. Just a quick intro about what I've done in the past and what I'm doing right now. So I've been in healthcare for nearly 20 years, and I've had the opportunity to work with healthcare organizations all over the world. One pattern that generally stood out for me was that I've seen a lot of products that had potential that didn't really make it into the market. And I usually, initially in my career, I blamed either the tech or the pricing or the market itself. But it took me a little while to realize that there is a strong clinical value that is still a struggle for a number of organizations in healthcare that are looking to expand or scale overseas. Which means to me that the ecosystem has to essentially adopt the solution or the product that any organization is trying to get into a certain market, and that takes a lot of work. So the purpose of understanding how these ecosystems work around the world, because it's definitely no cookie cutter. I've learned that firsthand. There's always a meticulous way of having to manage each region or each market on its own, particularly the regulatory itself. And as we see right now, healthcare has never been more connected on a global scale than before. I mean, the global healthcare market is over $12 trillion. There is more than 20 million healthcare professionals around the globe, and thousands of companies, whether manufacturers, distributors, or resellers, or consultants, that play in this particular field. And what that adds is that any piece of information now takes seconds, but finding the right partner takes a lot of time because it's so convoluted. And as we know, to build into a good partnership or relationship now, all of us have to attend trade events. They can be quite costly, particularly if you're a small, medium-sized organization. And also the market entry timeline can go anywhere between 6 months to 24 months. And if you're in biopharma, it could take even 17 years for a product to get into market. So it's all about positioning, and it's all about finding the right champions that will get you through. However, and when I saw all this, I realized that it's only going to get worse. Meaning that we can credit this really to COVID. Prior to COVID, a lot of countries have resolved to using the brand name regulatory compliances, like, for example, CE and FDA, and the Triple C, the compulsory from China. And COVID has actually taught us a very good lesson on a global scale. Many countries right now have resolved to adopting very stringent and strong regulatory and compliance standards because they want to rely on what's best for their base, for the healthcare, industry, and that pushed them to become very, very strong about what they want into their market and what they want to exclude. And if we thought that making it into a certain market before was tough, now it's going to be a different type of complicated and strong to access. And by the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. This way we could make the most of the time as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Now, the added icing on the cake to that is the introduction of AI. AI has catapulted the healthcare industry in terms of innovation and new solutions and products that are looking to get into market. And as you see here in the graph, sorry if you can see the graph. Can you see the graph?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll take that as yes. All right. So if you see the graph back from 2015, only about 50 companies, and now it's over 1,000 that are asking for FDA clearance. This is completely outside of all the products or solutions that are tangible that are looking to access the market itself. So you see that the barrier is not only on the regulatory and finding the right partners anymore. It's also having to fight the competition that's using intelligent technology to get into market. And this is going to get only worse. And what I've done was in the past 5 years, I marinated on all of this information. And I decided to do something about it because to me in my career, finding the right partners, getting access to the market, making sure that the solutions that I presented were valuable for the said markets, and there is actually a clinical viability from a workflow perspective, that it's helping the end users as well, makes sense. I decided that I wanted to do something about it. So I developed a platform called Venturion, and I will show you guys here in just a second. And what Venturion does, for lack of a better term, and I know my friends kind of laugh at me when I say, it's a combination of LinkedIn and Match.com or Tinder.
Munir, I like to say LinkedIn and eHarmony.
eHarmony, that's right, better, right. I think. Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if anyone knows the difference, that old school, but the way that it applies, I think, is a little bit more like that, right?
Right. So yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. So what we do is basically we have an AI algorithm that matches people matches companies based on their level of interest. Let's say, for example, you're a manufacturer that, and I can show you here how to put together the preferences or profile preferences. So initially, when you log in or when you sign up, you basically add your information, your basic information for onboarding, product focus, which is pretty self-explanatory.
Hey, Munir, I'm
yes.
sorry. If you switched over to the website, we're not able to see it. It's still
really
on the graph.
Okay.
It's still
Let's
on
see
the graph.
that. Let me see how I do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it might be easier to stop sharing and then reshare. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Here we go. All right.
Yep.
Can you see that?
Yep.
All right. Let's make this a little bigger. Let's start from the beginning. All right, here's Venturion. So like I said, it's a match-making platform. We use an AI algorithm that basically connects people based on similar interests. The main goal of this platform is well, we can't really remove noise 100%, but to minimize the impact of it. We're all very busy, on our day-to-day tasks and our jobs and what have you. So the thing is, being focused on building relationships and connecting with the right people that will get us somewhere, and vice versa, is very important to the development and the evolution of healthcare, in my opinion. And what we do is obviously, for example, let's say myself, I'm a manufacturer and I'm looking for somebody that's a manufacturer of iFit devices, and I'm looking for somebody that sells cardiology equipment in Australia. All I have to do is fill out my profile and say I'm looking for so and so and so things, and then once I'm being onboarded and approved, it'll start matching me with the folks that would make sense for the algorithm that I should connect with. And there is also a layer of connectivity. This is a two-way connection, so that people wouldn't really have control over the way this approach is. So I'll have to connect myself, and then the counterpart also has to approve. Otherwise, this is not going to work. There's a way to kind of do a quick review on each candidate before we connect with them. We have a chatting platform where once we connect with somebody, we start a conversation. And if things work out, then move on to the next steps. If they don't, we just exit the chat altogether, and there's no harm, no foul. We've added a daily digest as well, because I know how finding information is extremely complicated nowadays, not because of a lack of it, but because there's just too much. And how do we filter through it? So this daily digest actually pulls information from various sources in healthcare that are critical to what we do in our business. This is to keep us focused. And then there's a communities service. This is the secret sauce of all of it. So our communities page, it's active, but I'm just showing you the demo side of the application, is for everybody to share, add, request information, request assistance of any sorts. And if you guys know anything about, and a lot of you probably know a lot about healthcare, we like to complain, and we like to do that subtly and without being reprimanded. So I thought of an interesting way of having an anonymous way of doing it, because I think we earn the right to say what's not working in healthcare, because if we are being very candid about the information that we share in healthcare, particularly, things will progress much faster and more efficiently as well. So, yeah, and this is Venturion. I think this really builds up on what Crystal and Jenny have just showed you guys, and the platform is free to use for everyone. Everybody's vetted. We use a 3-point vetting process, and then that's it. I think anything I should probably add to this, Melissa. I'm not sure if there's anything.
What
the
I would like
quite
to
well.
add is to articulate, tease out a little bit more specifically where there's direct synergies with what people can do from your platform, circling back to U.S. Commercial Service and EDPNC. So let's just say you're using Munir's platform, and you think, you're starting dialogue with a distributor who seems to be, within the scope of your ideal distributor profile. Let's say for example, you're wanting to sell into a surgical environment at a hospital, and this particular distributor meets that criteria. They're not selling any direct lead to any of your competitors, but within the adjacent space, they seem like they could be viable. Now, as Munir said, they do some vetting on this, but always, 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 before getting into an official partnership, you're going to want to do more extensive due diligence. And so both EDPNC, through our private sector resources with foreign offices overseas, we can do some due diligence on your behalf. And then the embassies overseas offer due diligence where you can even pay them an extremely reasonable low amount of money to even physically go ensure that that distributor is where they say they are, they do what they say they're going to do. So again, use all of the resources, the three tools that have been presented today, as well as your Globe collaborators, who again, I will, just remind you who those are, to connect the dots for your specific customized needs. So I think these are all great tools that have synergies as well. And then who knows, maybe someday Munir's tool will be, featured on some other tools like Navigator Global. All of these resources together are going to maximize your ability to dive in. So thank you so much, Munir.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Great. So I am going to take a quick moment before we wrap up and show you two other things I really would like everyone to be aware of. First, very quickly, I am showing you, can you see my screen? Let's see here. Can you see the
Yes, yes, we
website?
can. Yes.
Is it showing you the EDPNC website?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. So this is just our events page, and export compliance is something that EDPNC offers on a regular basis, no cost, state-funded opportunities to get expertise in front of North Carolina life sciences companies. Now, this one in particular, as you can see, the one in the middle is one of these export compliance programs. Michael Laka is a gentleman who is an awesome teacher. He truly is an export expert, but this one is about ITAR. Now, I'm not sure how many dual application medical products are in need of ITAR compliance, but we cover topics 8 to 10 a year to help you ensure that you're in compliance with your exporting requirements. So you can just go to this page and find out about that, as well as other activities. I am going to now very quickly show you SBTDC's page with information. By chance, is Owen or Chin or Alex on the line? Because
I'm right here, Melissa.
I'm here.
Great, Owen. Hi. Yeah, I am going to bring up your website for you.
All right.
Just to quickly show people. So I'll scroll to the top, and then we'll show them the resources at the bottom. So
Okay.
everyone, Owen is joining us. He is one of our collaborators with the Globe Group, International Business Counselor, and he's going to show you their no-cost online resource.
Well, first of all, I would just like to thank everyone who participated on the call today and all the folks. It's exciting to see so many folks on this webinar. The SBTDC stands for Small Business and Technology Development Center, and we are a federal and state funded organization funded in part through a collaborative agreement with the SBA. And we cover the entire state of North Carolina. Unlike the EDPNC and U.S. Commercial Service, our counselors on the international side are really not just focused per se on a certain industry sector. We look at ourselves as the business side of exporting folks. So we have a team of 4 specialists who each of us has more than 20 years of experience of actually negotiating these type of contracts, traveling the world for different private sector companies where we had to get out there in the weeds. That includes Alex Viva on the call today, who heads up our international team, and my colleague Ching, who quite frankly worked 25 years with John Deere doing contracts around the globe. So what I feel like we bring to the table is we're a helpful resource that provides no fee-based counseling to all your companies that are on this call today if you're based in North Carolina. And we, on this website that you see here, the SBTDC, we're.org, so check it out. In fact, I think since we're very limited on time today, I don't want to do just one more presentation. I know everybody's probably a little bit overamped with all that knowledge, but I would just recommend you to go to this website, sbtdc.org. And first of all, if you decide you'd like to check into the options to have counseling from our team, the the core value that we bring is that we do confidential counseling. I mean, everybody on the call at Economic Development Partnership and Crystal at U.S. Commercial Service it's very important that we all maintain confidentiality with all of you, with your companies, and that's what we do. To get counseling from the SBTDC, you simply go to this website. You select, well, where are we in North Carolina? There's a map, and you click the office, and it will take you to that office. If you want to jump straight to international, you just go to our page for international and reach out that way. But fundamentally,
Owen,
business counseling is what it's all about. Thank you.
Yeah, no, Owen, if you could just point out the online resources here, just for the sake of time. Can you see my screen where it says the Trade Finance Guide and the Export Business Planner?
Yes, and those are resources that, quite frankly, if you really want to go to sleep real well one night, just get this thing out and start reading it. The export planner for your small business is a very in-depth guide. And there's so many resources available. The Trade Finance Guide, quite frankly, the SBA, we were on a call with them this morning. As you know, Melissa, there's a brand new focus on export-related trade through the SBA, the International Trade Loan Program, which helps to try to make access to funding specifically for companies that foresee exporting as part of what their platform will be. For example, we just heard about this international trade loan, which provides, the point is, the SBA loans provide backing to your bank so that your bank is not taking such a risk. This export international trade loan from SBA, for example, provides 90% loan guarantee. So your bank that you work with is willing to take a chance on that because they're guaranteed 90% by the SBA. So to learn more, reach out to the SBTDC or reach out to Melissa or Crystal, and they have my contact information.
Great. And Owen, since that screen is up, maybe you could close it out for us.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'll be glad to close it out by just thanking everyone for participating. And I want to thank you all for acknowledge to all of you on the call today that somebody like Melissa, Crystal, and I, we really respect you because you're out there working hard to try to grow your brands and grow your products around the globe. It's not easy. In fact, it's very difficult. And so that's why we in North Carolina feel like we want to be a team. That's why we created Globe, was so that folks in the private sector like yourselves can reach out and learn about these resources. We heard exciting news, for example, this morning. Melissa, her agency that basically administers the STEP grant things are looking very favorable. That's a very specific funding to help your companies go global, help pay for certain specific things such as participation in trade shows with real cash money reimbursed to you. So if you reach out to one of us, we'll reach out to the other folks with the different trade teams in North Carolina to try to answer your questions and help solve your problems. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. And so I think that we will follow up with everyone that joined us today with an email of our contact information from our three presenters, as well as contact information from your core Globe collaborators, so that we can do follow-up conversations with you to help you understand how to maximize these online tools as best as possible. Thank you so much for your day and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
And Crystal, let's go ahead and stop the recording. I think that might be in your hands.
Okay.
Thank you, Melissa. I really appreciate it.
Great presentation.